On Sunday, the 14th of June, popular Hindi movie star Sushant Singh Rajput, just 34 years old, was found hanging in his apartment in Mumbai. He had committed suicide. The country was shocked. How could someone who seemingly had everything going for him, had found success in a strongly dynastic film industry as an outsider, had first made a name for himself in the television drama circuit before finding a foothold in films, and had won hearts in several blockbusters he delivered through the course of a short but rewarding career, end it all by taking his own life. After all, Sushant was an inspiration for many Indians from different parts of the country who dreamed to make it big in the world of cinema. He was a good student, spent a significant part of his life in Patna, and left his studies to pursue a career in the world of soap operas and eventually films. Many, disillusioned with nepotism and what they believed was a clique that placed familial connections over and above talent, had a strong reason to hope that they'd be able to emulate what Sushant had achieved. Reports later emerged that Sushant had been suffering from depression, had sought therapy, and had been on medication. While the exact cause and reasons behind his death are now a matter of police investigation, many couldn't imagine the scale and extent of stress he may have been under for him to take the drastic step he did.
To be very honest with you, I saw it coming. Then when we started planning for Sadak 2, Alia and Bhatt Saab both told me that Sushant Singh Rajput was very keen to do a film with us, and he's looking forward to working with Bhatt Saab and me and all. So Bhatt Saab also spoke to me, and then he came over and he met me in the office, and we spent about an hour together talking, and he was talking various things about life in general and about the kind of films he gets absolutely turned on by and all. But in his talk, I could make out he's a very disturbed soul. There's something about him which I felt that he was not connected. And that bothered me more than anything else.
Here's a man who has come up the hard way. He has seen hardship. He used to be a dancer in the fourth row with Shamak Davar. If you have worked with Shamak Davar, who I know very well, you'll realize that you have to be really good and you have to work super hard to succeed. From there, he's come to be a bankable actor. If he's bounced from about 2-3 movies from some big producer, it doesn't make a difference. He knows that he's going to get more work. It is something more to it. It is a collective issue. There have been several issues that have conspired and have come in, are in play. Was a reason for him to take his life. For that one moment, that 1 minute of madness when you lose control, there are a lot of conspiring factors. It is not just one single thing.
Several celebrities in the film industry have in recent times openly spoken about their own struggles with mental health. Deepika Padukone has recalled her experiences with depression, Anushka Sharma has spoken of anxiety, and Varun Dhawan and Karan Johar have also shared their accounts of the phases of depression that they lived through. And there have been several others.
What happened to Sushant was personal to Sushant. The after effect of it, he's immortal for me as a hero because he sparked a revolution about mental health suddenly, and everybody again is going back to saying mental health is important. And I wish Sushant was here to see what he's done. I was a fan of him as an actor, and he will always be a hero to me with what he's even done now. I only wish he was here to know how much people love him, and I've never met him.
Yeah.
I've never spoken to him, but his demise has troubled me deeply.
According to a Lancet study published in 2019, an estimated 45.7 million Indians suffered from depressive disorders and 44.9 million from anxiety disorders. The study pegged the total number of Indians suffering from mental disorders at 197.3 million people, which is more than 14% of the country's population. As per the National Crime Records Bureau, there were 1.35 lakh recorded suicides in India in 2018, and 7% of these had mental illness as among the reasons.
Just to give you a perspective about how great mental illness has been. See, we all understand, everybody understood what is physical illness all these years, right? Because you can see somebody with a fracture, you can see somebody with a broken leg, you can see the fever, you can see the blood parameters going wrong in diseases. Unfortunately, in mental health, you can't see anything. It's a person's battle from within. It's people are so broken sometimes that other people outside don't understand. It's very grave because it goes very unnoticed also. So the statistics are 1:4. People are suffering from some kind of mental illness or the other, like anxiety or depression. So you can just imagine, if you go to a gathering, every fourth person has something or the other which is difficult for them on the mental plane. And you'll also be surprised to know that 80% of the people, 80 to 90% of the people who commit suicide, they have had some depression or some mental illness. And on the other hand, to tell you a better statistics is also that 80% of the people suffering from depression are curable. So people are so frightened, initially to understand that they've got something, something's wrong, or mentally they're not well. It's very, very curable.
But what is it about the pressures and stress involved in the film industry that also renders celebrities vulnerable?
It's the nature of our job. It's the nature of as they say, the nature of the beast. Look, there is a lot at stake. There are people here who are creatively, in a situation where you're creatively high-strung. There is power, there's money, there's glamour, there's failure. Because in this profession, failure comes along with the fact that you may succeed or you may not succeed. These ingredients and this recipe is absolutely the formula for pressure.
Most public figures have a tough life. It's not just the film industry. One is always looking at film stars and seeing, how are they dressed? Even if they're going to the airport, they're catching a flight, they're walking somewhere around their house, people are taking videos. So they're always in the public eye. So for them, the pressures are enormous, and also the pressures to perform. Another important thing is the pressure to how to deal with the failure. Because obviously you're not going to succeed in everything you do. So the trolling, it's very difficult to handle the trolling and the negative comments. Imagine if every morning you wake up and you have so many tweets against you, and it's very difficult for any human being.
And what about the fact that outsiders perhaps have had it more difficult in the film industry as opposed to sons and daughters of prominent film stars who presumably have had strings to pull?
That this isn't like a equal opportunity bureau, the film industry, or somebody's invited you to a party so that they call you, please come to my house, and then they mistreat you. You come here on your own decisions, by your own choices. Who feels welcomed in this industry? I ask you that question. You're only welcome till you're working and you're successful. Nobody wants you around. I mean, this is what people who come from what they so-called the outside. Everybody has come from the outside at some stage. Devanand Saab came from Lahore. Dilip Kumar Saab came from somewhere else. Dharmender ji came from somewhere else. Now, the point is that this is an open playing field. You come, you work hard, you make your mark. You may not make your mark. There is no guarantees. Unfortunately, the nature of the business is such that there is more failure than success. When a young man, and a successful young man, by the way, takes his own life at the age of 34, I think it is for society to definitely raise the questions. However, I also don't agree with the fact that that before the investigation is done and the clinical analysis have been done, to perfectly understand this, that the narrative should start and the blame game begin on day one, that the film industry is responsible for this. I'm not saying that it may be, I don't know the facts now. It may be that the film industry in some way was responsible because that was his career ground. But to say that it was completely responsible is a bit far-fetched. I always think that in a situation like this, it's a combination of factors, not least.
Do outsiders feel isolated? How critical is it that they too have a strong support system?
There is no support system in the film industry. What are we talking about? It is a freelance industry. You come, you create your support system. You meet the people who you want to work with. Nobody is welcoming you in the film industry, coming to the platform or to the airport and saying, "Aiye, aiye, aap film industry mein aiye, aapki kami hai." Sorry. It is not a sympathetic place. It is not a place for the faint-hearted. It is not a place that you've been invited to. I still consider myself an outsider. I'm different to a lot of people in the playing field. But it's not a collective industry. And it is what the flavor of the industry is, that there are different personalities. There are people from different walks of life that contribute to this whole fabric of different roles and different kind of characters. So you have to make your place. I have never been discriminated against from that point of view. So, I mean, the point is that you are taken for some roles and you don't get some roles. I mean, I can never do a role. I mean, I know it. I mean, I can never play Nelson Mandela, for sure. So you have to know that there are some things that fits the vision of the director, and you'll get some roles and you won't get the other roles. And there is the factor also after that. Look, a person very rightly said, Divya, maybe this sums it up, that the profession of acting is the most psychologically damaging way to make a living.
Happy birthday, bro. So what plans?
Nothing, dude. Bars are shut, so I'm chumma bored at home.
Check your WhatsApp, bro.
Hey, what is this link, da?
Zoom meeting, bro. Surprise birthday party. Hey, only I'm there on this.
That only, bro. I told you, no. Surprise.
Daanish Seth is a successful stand-up comedian from Bengaluru, has a large following, and his impersonations during the lockdown and amid the COVID-19 crisis have been a rage on the social media.
So good to be in a restaurant.
Mask pen ke kaisa khana dide?
Jaya, look at the menu and order whatever you want.
Padne nahi aata bhaiya.
Waiter!
Ayadi madam, idli, dosa, chawcha baat, kara baat, kesri baat, mangi baat, bisbada baat, yen beko.
Yeah, ek hot water bath.
Danish very candidly has spoken and written about his experience with depression, about the importance of a support system and therapy. A jovial, energetic personality with a great sense of humor is what Danish is, but he too has been fighting a battle within.
The clowning does get to you at some point, and it has gotten to me as well, where I've actually sat down and looked at myself and said, geez, I'm so different as a person and the personality that people consume content from. But then you learn to make peace with it. And you realize that I'm in a profession and in an occupation where I can go through whatever I have to go through in my personal life, but it can't really reflect on what I do in terms of content. So as a result, I think what I've started doing is I've started looking at my own personal life and life in general with the lens of humor, because it makes things easier for me. Because adversity can play pretty badly on you when you look at the different modes of news and information that we have. But the moment you look at it in a lighter sense and say, all right, this too shall pass. The tide is against you right now. You don't want to get washed away, but you'd rather ride with it. So I guess that makes life a lot easier.
Nowadays, a lot of people are asking us this very simple and basic question: how do I know that I am depressed?
Yes.
And how do I know that someone's staying with me? is depressed, or my friend or my co-worker who keeps speaking to me is depressed. So there are some red alert signs which everybody should be watchful for. Mood swings, consistent low moods, bouts of weeping, बहुत बार बैठे बैठे रोना आ जाना. But having said that, do not mistake depression. A lot of people mistake depression by thinking कि रो रहा है एक कंबल के ऊपर करके बैठा हुआ है, अंधेरे में बैठा हुआ है. Yes, those are symptoms. We are not negating them. But having said that, there are other symptoms of depression also. For example, disproportionate reaction to things. A lot of violent reactions, anger, frequent anger bouts, those are also a part of depression, right? Then there is something which we call anhedonia, which means we're not interested, the person loses interest in day-to-day activities.
Yeah.
Somebody who used to love to chat with their friends, used to love to watch movies, eat something nice, look out for that extra dessert, wear something nice, all those interests start going down.
Yeah.
Your engagement with life starts coming down. This constant low feeling which stays. So these are few of the red. Hopelessness is another very big thing, that the person feels I'm not going to get okay, this is a bad situation, lot of negative thinking coming in. So these are some of the signs of, some of the red alert signs which we should watch out for. If they're consistently, we feel this is happening for a few days, please reach out to the person, speak to them, understand, and then please reach out to a mental health specialist.
I was actually going through severe body pain, and when I say body pain, it starts from the tip of the fingers right through my body, everywhere, back, my chest, my legs, all of it. I went and saw a rheumatologist, I saw an orthopedician, I saw a neurologist. We figured it could be fibromyalgia, and they said it's a problem, it'll come, it'll go, you need to massage your trigger points. But also with that, because the pain was so much, I couldn't really focus on the fact that my mind was very foggy and sort of cloudy. There's a difference between having a mind which is not under the weight of this external influence, right? There's something about being easy and light versus having issues. I did get onto the path of taking painkillers that eased the physical pain, but the mental pain or the mental numbness was still very much there. And only until I got to a point where I stood a moment away from taking away my own life, when my sister had to intervene and say, there is something deeper and darker than just you feeling extreme physical pain.
Yeah.
Maybe it's about time you go see someone professional.
While reaching out to a therapist is one aspect of addressing the issue, in India there's also a serious shortage of mental health professionals. India had around 7,500 mental health professionals as of January 2015 as per a parliamentary reply. The prescribed number for anything to qualify as reasonable in our country is 55,000. There's one psychiatrist for 2 lakh individuals in this country. While there is growing awareness about mental health, accessibility to professional help will increasingly prove a challenge. In fact, despite growing awareness, there are serious concerns about the extent to which mental health remains a priority for our policymakers. Yes, the Mental Healthcare Act was passed in 2017, which makes it incumbent upon state governments to establish mental health programs and improve the manpower and infrastructure to address the issue. But this is very much a work in progress. In the 2020 budget, the allocation for mental health was the same as the year before. The key for those at the receiving end of issues with regards to mental health is to first overcome any hesitation or reluctance to seek help.
At home one day, and it just hit me that I wasn't liking the person that I had become. And I want to live because I think life is beautiful. Besides the 50,000 other external problems, I do believe life is beautiful. And I remember sitting down one day and dialing to this helpline number, Just Dial, where they give you any and every number. And I said, I want numbers of doctors around me. And they gave me the numbers of these hospitals. And I walked into a hospital and they said room number 11. I walked into room number 11. Is at least what I thought. There was a man sitting in there with a stethoscope around his neck. I thought he was the doctor I was meeting, and I started rattling to a point where I broke down. I was so anxious. He got me a glass of juice and said, son, I wish I could help you, but I'm the orthopedician. The doctor you're looking for is in the next room. So I actually went there. We laughed about it, and I went there. In hindsight, I do laugh about it, but I feel like it's that one moment where you just realize that whatever is happening to you is not in your control, and you want to just bring it together. And I feel like that's a very human thing, where you want to survive.